Hi, I'm Brent. Today I've got a video update on what to do when you need to investigate and make a decision on your brake pads for your Subaru. And behind me is our R&D vehicle, which originally belonged to Whiteline. We've recently purchased it and continuing the partnership with our R&D project. And of course, Ecotec and DBA are one of our partners with this vehicle. And make sure you stay and watch the end of this video so I can give you some more valuable technical information as well. Now, there is a huge range of opportunities out there with different brake pads to choose from for your car, and it is one thing that's very, very important to choose what you're going to use your car for to enable you to make a decision on what brake pads and brake discs to use. Now, it's pretty obvious in a situation like this, we choose to use the DBA slotted rotors, and the one on this car has done some pretty extensive track day use with Andy Forrest several years ago when he was competing at World Time Attack, when he was doing a lot of his testing and getting an idea of the track at Eastern Creek. So the car's been through a pretty hard life. We've taken the rotors off, we've given a bit of a birthday, machined them up, and being the locally made Australian DBA rotors, they've got a lot of durability and a lot of life in them and a lot of material, which allows that to be done. But of course, the brake pads have certainly seen well and truly plenty of value in their life, managed to get the best value out of those. And we've removed those, including the anti-rattle shims, and we're now going to put the replacement pads on the front and back of the car. Now, the really good thing that I want to show you is DBA has recently come out with a whole range of new different types of pads which they manufacture for their global market. And depending on the application, you can choose, and just two of the examples are the Extreme Performance range of pads or the Street Performance range of pads. Now, these pads come with all the parts and everything you need to fit them. They come with anti-rattle shims, they come with all the right components, and they're a global design brake pad with incredibly good material in them, which is not made down to a price. Now, you can buy brake pads for $20 or $30, or you can go right to the extreme end of the range and choose a really, really expensive set of brake pads that are designed for a different application. And what I wanted to talk about here is not only would you be influenced by quality and price, but you need to choose the design of the pad to suit your use. And the use is typically dictated by whether it's a track day or a spirited use, and that then affects the temperature range that you're going to use your pads in. Now, if you go for a really heavy duty set of track pads, if you're driving your car on the road, typically when you drive your car in the morning, you put your foot on the brake pedal, it's going to feel like putting your foot on a piece of wood, and the car will not have you any confidence in stopping until you get a lot more temperature into the pad to increase that coefficient of friction, which is that friction which you rely on between the pad and the disc to stop the car. So as you move the temperature of the operating components, that is the disc and the pad, into the right range, then those components will start working correctly. So of course, if you've got a car that you want to take to Bathurst and flog the hell out of it, then you're going to have a much higher operating temperature consistently than, say, for example, your road car for just typical cold use if you're in a very, very cold environment. So in my application, because I regularly drive this car, I want something a little bit in the middle. It's going to give me confidence when the car's a little bit cold, but I'm going to know what to expect. And at the same time, if I'm going to take it to a track or take it for a hard drive on the road, it's going to take the temperature that I'm going to expect to be putting the car under. Now, one thing I want to talk about when we're putting the pads on the discs is it is very important if you're changing the pad component from a previous brake pad, because some brake pads have got different components in the content of the friction material, like a carbon ceramic pad, or some pads have different makeups that then migrate the material onto the face of the rotor. And if you don't machine the rotor, you might have a nice, clean, flat surface. You go, look, I'm going to save some money. I don't need to change the rotors. I don't need to machine them. I'm going to put a brand new set of brake pads in. You've got to be very, very careful the brand of pad that you're fitting, because what can happen is the friction material on your new pads may then be in conflict with the friction material that has been migrated onto the friction surface of the disc. So what then happens is you end up with a pad and a disc that just doesn't work properly. But also, just as importantly, you need to make sure that wherever you can, you put new pads with old discs or new discs with old pads. Now, in a situation where they're badly worn, such as ourselves, we don't have a lot of choice. So when I go to bed in the pads with my new material, the brake pads, with the nice fresh surface of the disc, I'm going to have to bed them in a careful way without overheating them, but to burnish the first surface, because effectively what happens is the surface of the disc gets a wear surface created by a case hardening effect because of the iron content of the disc with the new pads, which then gives me better life. So if I go out there and flog the hell out of this car with what they call green discs and green pads, they're not going to bed in properly and I won't get the best life out of the pad. So they're all the things you need to carefully consider. Hopefully I haven't confused you with your choice, but remember there's a lot more technical info you can get off our website at mrtperformance.com.au. If you're looking for a custom tune on your car, you go to mrttuned.com.au, and remember, make sure you choose your pads carefully, choose your rotors carefully, and don't always be guided on price, because quality in the long run will always be worth it. I hope this video has helped you learn more about your car, but for today, my name is Brett Middleton. Thanks for watching.